Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Super Mario World. So, last world we were in was pretty much the introductory world to the game, or the tutorial land, Yoshi's Island. Fun fact, it's kind of hard to imagine, but, in the context of Super Mario World, or Super Mario lore, it's kind of hard to imagine that, like in Mario RPG, for example, they do mention Yoster's Island, but you don't hear about all these other places that once existed. So it kind of makes you wonder exactly where this whole island here exists in the grand scheme of things. We never see Vanilla Dome again. We never see the Forest of Illusion again, Chocolate Island, Soda Lake. We never see all these things again. But anyway, so Donut Plains, it's pretty much, you could say that this is probably the main hub of the entire game. Oh, also, new power-up, an even better version of the Super Leaf in this game, the Cape Feather. So, fun fact about the Super Leaf, actually, when they were developing this game, they actually had sprites for Mario with the Tanuki tail going through this game, but that was ultimately scrapped in favor of just a yellow cape. So anyway, another charge and chuck. This time that's what they call a confused chuck. Because it's a football player throwing baseballs. Don't ask why. Oh, one word of caution. If you see a power-up, an inferior power-up, you can actually inadvertently replace the one you're carrying, so something to keep in mind. And because we have the Yellow Switch Palace unlocked, we actually have a way of standing on these blocks here. Anyway, throughout the game you'll encounter this bonus. Basically, all you gotta do is hit the 3 blocks in a correct order, and you'll get a 1-up for it. There is a trick with the cape. There is a trick you can do with the cape that if you hit each of these blocks from left to right at the far left edge of each block in that order, the whole thing will always be right. Of course, we're doing okay on live, so we don't absolutely need to play this. Just a fun distraction, or if you're not very good at platformers or you're just starting to play video games, nice recommendation. Now, if you really want to test your mettle, there's this part here which basically explains the controls or the gimmick of the Cape Feather. Yes, Mario can fly up into the air, but if you want to simulate flight, Mario can actually pull the cape over his head like a parachute. So, I mean, I could explain the controls to you, but hold Y to keep balance. Basically, all you need to know is that once you fly up into the air, and you see Mario get into the cape flight stance, make sure to press the button opposite you're facing on the D-pad. And basically, you can get as many coins as you want here. I mean, it doesn't really matter. The GBA port actually makes this into a mini game. Basically, encourages you to get all the coins, although you'll likely run out of time in the stage before you accomplish it. But if you do, you get a nice bonus of like 3 extra lives on top of what the coins already give you. So, just something to consider. I mean, honestly, it'd be quicker just to play the 1-up mini game, or just, be good in general. Okay. Now I'm going to ditch Yoshi here because I actually want to get up there preemptively. So this basically tells you red dot areas, in the world are have 2 different exits to exit the stage, and yellow dot areas only have 1. This here basically just hints that, you know, hey, there's something up here, but you need the green switch palace. Well, not really. Again, if you're very skilled at this game, you can just bypass a lot of this stuff. I'm going to go ahead and just show off the secret exit. Not all secret exits are keyhole with keys, but this will give us access to our first water level. Probably one of only few that are explicitly water levels, but so anyway, so I mentioned this once before, but the Y and X buttons, you know, even according to the original Super Nintendo manual for this game, they actually do the same thing. But did you know you can also press them simultaneously? See? Now, it may look like I'm using a turbo controller, but no, I'm actually pressing my thumb against both X and Y at the same time. So yeah, while you're using the Y button, you can freely use the X button, and vice versa, you know, independently of the other button. Anyway, come up here. You get your first introduction to the P balloon. So if you've played Mario Maker 2, you'll know exactly that it was a reference. Although the power balloon actually behaves differently in this game than it does in Mario Maker. Mario Maker makes it a little more mobile, I guess, if albeit a little hard to control. Come up here for an extra life. You can get the dragon coins if you want. Unfortunately, unless you get hit, there's no way to, you know, make the power-up expire. Let's see, do I have Yoshi with me? No, I think I ditched him earlier. Okay, there's a flower in there, but I'm going to ignore it for now. One thing to know, if you're holding onto an item underwater, Mario actually swims a little bit faster. He can be a little bit unwieldy. You have a switch here. You can actually pick up and carry switches in this game. Not all switches, mind you. The Switch Palace the Switch Palace switches, I mean, they're stationary. Not that you would want to take them with you anyway. So that leads back to here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and jump cut past that key area just to show you what the rest of this level looks like. Give me one moment, please. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I guess I got a little carried away and I ended up playing the stage anyway. But anyway, now we've got our bonus game. It's a pretty straightforward bonus game that happens every time you collect the 100 stars. You basically have a target image you have to try to get and hit the block at just the right timing to get 1-ups. It's basically tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row. If you get, for every 3 in a row you get a 1-up. You can get up to a maximum of 8 extra lives if you're lucky enough. And there are times where you can't even get any lives, so something to keep in mind. So, Donut Ghost House. This is, if you're not finding secret exits, this is going to be your first ghost house. This is a ghost house. Can you find the exit? Don't get lost. The GBA remake actually asks the player if they've met before, so kind of a little bit of a nod to understand that yes, it was a port, and yes, people probably played the original. So anyway, if you follow the path I took here, you can get yourself 4 extra lives and an exit to the next stage. It's okay, we don't really need a power-up where we're going. So yeah, that right there. Some levels are not going to be pretty overt about whether or not they have secret exits. Just something you might have to consult a player's guide or the internet for. Anyway, this leads us to one of the only non-clearable levels, called the top secret area. What is the top secret area? Well, it's basically it's a short stage with no time limit, and you can basically have your pick of whatever power-ups you want or need. To the left, you can get fire flowers, and to the right, you can get cape feathers. I always go for the cape feathers myself. It's pretty versatile and clears stages quickly. So anyway, now we have to clear this stage legitimately. Now, I could go through the entire level. I could slog through the entire level, or I could just fly over everything. Suffice to say, most levels are like this, not all of them. Some of them actually have barriers that block you. And, of course, you can't do this in castle stages. You have to... Those always end in a boss fight, so... You can do a dive bomb attack, too. Gonna go... Okay, so as far as the gold post goes, 50 stars is the max you can get. If you get 50 stars, you get an extra 3 extra lives for it. Again, you know, this game, you know, if you know what you're doing and you play like a pro, you know, it's easy as get out. So, anyway, first overtly underground level. And yes, there are auto-scrollers in this game. Something to be aware of. Okay, so this enemy here, that enemy there is it's a buzzy beetle, not a Koopa Troopa. Easy to confuse the two. I mean, there has... Okay. Okay, so if you want the secret exit out of here, you see this flat portion I'm standing on? The pipe above it is actually where we need to go for the secret exit. Incidentally, if you don't want to take the secret exit, you can still come up through this one and exit through a pipe just to the far right of here, and it'll lead to an exit. Now, if you happen to have Yoshi with you, simply have Yoshi put that in his mouth, and he can fly up there with you. Yes, you can take Yoshi through the keyhole door. How do you do it? Well, you put the key in his mouth. Okay, well, I got lucky there, but still. But still, you don't have to play the full stage. That full stage, you can basically just, like I said, go through the secret exit again, and, you know, there you go. But this secret exit leads us to the Green Switch Palace, and arguably the most useful of the palaces, by far. Okay, so what you want to do here is you let that Koopa kick the shells. Even without a shell, you can tell which colored Koopa Troopa it was. That one was a blue Koopa Troopa. They have pretty bad temper. You know, they won't get back into their shells. Instead, they'll kick a shell. I think the only exception to this rule is if it's a shell that's not their own, that they might crawl back into. And it'll actually change the behavior of that Koopa Troopa thereafter. Anyway, power of the Switch Palace, yada yada yada. So I mentioned before the green and yellow ones have items in them. Yellow Switch Palace blocks always have a mushroom. Green ones always have a feather. Okay, so I'll probably do this level here on my own time, but for now, let's just head to these other areas that I didn't get to. So anyway, I showed off the sorry. I showed off the secret exit before, but now I'll show you the regular exit. Okay. Yeah, the disappearing, reappearing Boo Buddies, or the Boo Buddy Swarm is not exactly my favorite. Okay, so this room right here, fun fact, if you have a cape feather, you can just fly up here, and bam, you're already, and, you know, bam. And then bam, you've already completed the level. But, let's say you didn't have a cape with you. What you want to do is you want to go through this door, yes, this door right here. There is a switch here. If you press it, you can actually go to this door here, which, by the way, is not the exit. I'm not entirely sure. Is there anything up here? No, there isn't, but I think in the GBA port there is. So anyway, you get your first introduction to the coin snake block. Basically, you control how it operates with the D-pad. There is a limit to how many coins this thing spews out, so it's not infinite. But it will stop prematurely if it crashes against a wall. Like I said, I don't really need all these extra bonuses. In fact, I don't really need to collect any of the coins, really. I mean, we already got 46 lives here. I mean, I'll show you a trick on how you can get as most... Apart from visiting a stage over and over again, I'll show you a place where you can get, like, at least 54 lives per one visit. Alright, so, anyway, if you didn't have a cape feather, you go here. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to go back through this door here. Now, this looks the same, but it isn't. See? And there we go. And congratulations, you've beaten this level. Now don't worry about Mario. I'll stop by through the secret, top secret area. So the Game Boy Advance would later properly give this level here its own sprite in the form of a tree. Looks kind of janky the way it is now, I get it. But, you know, I mean, early 90s, what are you gonna do? I mean, it could be worse. I mean, it could be like Street Fighter, where, you know, they keep doling out different editions of the Street Fighter, you know, basically Street Fighter 2. Basically, it was like DLC before there was DLC. I mean, imagine that, right? Nowadays, games can be fixed retroactively. Or at least, I mean, most games nowadays can be fixed retroactively, but kind of wish that was the case with all games. Okay, so this is another level that has two distinct exits. We're going to go through the secret exit. This is a 10 coin block, don't need that. So the regular level exit is right here behind these coins. Now, if you come over here, hit this block here, it'll basically tell you about the Star Road, or Star World, or whatever. Okay, but we do need this switch, though. So anyway, what you want to do is you want to come up here, go through here, and this is your first, this is one of only 2 non-Koopaling boss fights. This is called the Big Boo. Although there are Boos that are also called Big Boo. This one's different. Basically, this one you can hurt. You can sort of make out where he is. He's not completely invisible, excuse me. I like to pick up a block in this stage so that when the screen fades, it looks like Mario's giving a thumbs up. Just a neat little trick you can do, I guess. Okay, and so there's your entrance to the Star World. But we're not quite finished yet. Again, gotta get re-equipped here. Alright. Okay, so now for the regular exit. Again, if you got the... Oh, by the way, I should have mentioned this earlier, but Yoshi doesn't... unlike in Super Mario Maker, in the SNES original here, Yoshi does not like castles or ghost houses. Too spooky, I guess, for him. Although he would later grow a spine later, in later games. If you didn't have a cape feather, I mean, you can basically use that switch to get that trampoline down. So the regular ghosts in this game behave like they usually do. If you look away, they'll give chase. If you stare at them, they'll just be there. Super Mario World, they have a blank expression. Yeah, that's another thing the ghosts can do. If you look at them long enough, or if you wait long enough, the ghosts will actually just do random faces. I guess as a way of trying to intimidate the player. I don't know. I don't get it either, but... yeah, it just kind of adds to the creepiness. The big ghosts actually do that too, but they basically just lower the hands from their eyes. Okay, so that takes us underground. And it is here we get a glimpse of another world. Technically, we're in the upper left portion. This small island up here is technically part of the Donut Lands. You see two pipes down there? That's actually part of Chocolate Land. We won't get there until much later, but... yeah, so... You get to see the Bowser's Castle. I don't know if he was going for like a disco rave look, vibe, or whatever. I mean, not that he invites people, but, you know. It's there. It's how it looks. Okay, so once again, you have another coin block. I think the coin block always contains 100 coins. I'm not sure. I could be wrong about that. Anyway, in case you hadn't noticed, there is a bit of slipperiness here. This is one of the first times there's actually ice physics on a regular stage. Mario 3 had some of those, but they were very sparse, in my opinion. Actually, that was pretty bad. Let me... okay, well, I lost it anyway, but if you're fast enough, you can actually reach this block before your star runs out and get another star. Yeah, sometimes the game does that. Okay, now does that put us in line with another bonus game, or... okay, I guess it does. Alright, we'll try to make this quick here. Oh, well, there we go. 8 lives. So, fun fact between this and the GBA version, in this version, regardless of whether you win or lose, Mario still gives a peace sign. If Mario completely botches that game, in the Game Boy Advance port, he'll actually hold his head in shame upon the music's completion. Just a little bit of a fun detail that they fixed or added. There's a lot of things Mario can do in this game that he can't do in the Mario Maker adaptation. Basically, there's this thing in the game called the buzzsaw. Mario can actually spin jump off of them here in this game. In the Game Boy, I don't know if he can do that in the Game Boy Advance. Maybe he can, I don't know. But, so yeah, I mean, Yoshi here just grabbed a blue shell, so I can basically just fly over most of this. Okay, well, I got lucky there, but... So up there is another, match 3 game for extra lives. Okay. Don't worry, Yoshi's fine. So, not to shoot myself in the foot here, you know, since I'm trying to get viewers myself. If you want a more comprehensive guide on this game, you can always watch Video Games 101 with Let's Play with Brigands, or you can actually go to You Can Beat Video Games channels. I mean, you can't go wrong with either of those guys, so... I don't really have a preference between the two. I think Brigands basically has some interesting tidbits. I mean, I think he says he has TAs help him out. I don't know if they're actually different people or if it's just him with voiceovers, but either way, I mean, it's nice. He puts in the effort. You know, can't go wrong there. Actually, I really didn't need to come here, did I? Well, anyway, if you want a Yoshi or anything, once again, top secret areas got your back. Okay, well, I guess I'm going in circles here. Okay, so Donut Plains 4. Okay, so I mentioned that if Yoshi has a yellow or a blue shell in his mouth, he flies. Red, he'll basically spit fire. Green, he'll just spit it back out. Well, he'll spit out a yellow one too, but yellow ones give him something else. He has kind of a short-range earthquake stomp that he can just basically tamp the ground and destroy a bunch of enemies. Now, one other thing I want to show off. And for that, I have to actually go back to the start of the level. Okay, so the yellow Koopa, when they get back into their shell, they'll basically create an invincible shell that's impervious to most that. Oh, hello. I didn't realize they could do that. Well, anyway, if Yoshi were to put one of those in his mouth while it's flashing, Yoshi can basically get all the powers. I mean, it sounds great, but again, it's temporary. Okay, so you get a bit of a detour here. Oh, that was different. Okay, first instance of a roulette block. I'm surprised these didn't make it into Mario Maker. Maybe once the Switch 2 comes out, we'll get a Mario Maker 3. I don't know. I mean, I'm not holding my breath or nothing. It's just, you know. I mean, Mario Maker's successful. I mean, what do you want, you know? There's that 3-up moon. I believe this was also the first time in a Mario game where if Mario destroys consecutive enemies, that instead of just getting flat amounts of points, you actually get increasing points and eventually 1-ups. Or no, I take that back. I think the first iteration of that was It was either this game or Super Mario Land 2. I'm not sure. For the Game Boy. Anyway. So, Morton's Castle, number 2. Once again, Yoshi will not come with you. Okay, so here's the standard path, right? You know, you get these new cousins to the Thwimps. And up here's, you know, ball and chains. You know, you'll have to watch out for that. You can actually pass through the chain portion of those safely, by the way. Come over here. You get your first introduction to Thwomps. You can actually defeat the dry bones by using a cape attack and then going through here. Now, that's one way you can go. Now, another path you can take, if you want to avoid danger, is to fly on up to the upper left. So if you do what I did here, you can basically skip the portions I just showed you and just play a mini game or just skip right ahead. Well, either I got incredibly lucky or you don't have to do it from the left, but either way, I mean, there you go. If you get enough speed, you can quickly make your way up here. If you're fast enough, you can do a lot of things. Okay, well, I botched that one. Actually, I could... Well, nope. I guess back down I go. Oh boy, I feel like I got a splitting headache in the back of my head here. Maybe I'll take some aspirin after this, I don't know. Either that or it's because I'm talking too much. Okay, so Morton Koopa Jr. Nothing special about this guy, just jump on him 3 times. Rapid succession like I did, and he'll go down easily. He's one of 3 different Koopa Links that you can just lob fireballs at, and he'll eventually go down as well. And there you have it. That's World 2 complete. I mean, I guess the shape of the area is sort of like a donut. I mean, of course, you could say that about a lot of different places, you know? I mean, I don't know what makes Vanilla Dome vanilla, you know? Other than the idea that it's just your generic underground level. And even then, it's not really underground if it's inside a dome. But I guess it is kind of inside a mountain, I mean... So anyway, yeah, that's part 2 of Super Mario World. Please stay tuned for part 3, where we take on Vanilla Dome, which some people say is actually the biggest world in the game. So anyway, Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.